Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. I'm going to steal this from a friend. If you are sick and tired of the constant infringements on the Second Amendment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the sponsor for today's news, and that is Gun Pro Deals. Check them out. They now have the Grand Power Excalibur in FDE and in tungsten gray and black. Fantastic prices on those. And also, if you're a fan of the Grand Power Strybog, I know that is my favorite subgun right now, they have those in FDE and in OD green, and they're the only place you can get them like this. And in addition, they also laser engrave all of the factory markings back onto the firearm just the way they are to the factory specs. Gun Pro Deals is the place to check them out. So let's get into today. First off, before I jump into the main story, I got a lot of people who live in Maryland that emailed or messaged or texted or DM'd yesterday once the system was back up and running. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'll put a link there. Their background check system in Maryland suffered a, quote, catastrophic hardware failure to their infrastructure, and it was down from Sunday night, and it was back up and running yesterday early midday, early afternoon. And from what I hear from a couple people that I know in Maryland right now, the backlog is real, but they are working supposedly around the clock to try to get to that backlog. So if you're lost in the shuffle, stay on it. They're supposed to be working through it, but yeah, you know how that goes. Sometimes people fall through the weeds, so check it, stay on top of them. But it is back up and running in Maryland, so their infringement system is working again. Now, let's get into today's news. This is, when the Supreme Court refused to take up those 10 Second Amendment cases, I had that little State of the Second Amendment address that I did, and I'll put that link here. If you didn't watch that, because it's really thought-provoking on where we stand right now and what will happen in the future, and it didn't take long. I've been telling a lot of people that, with the Second Amendment refusing to address things that even some of the justices on the court said are issues and need to be addressed, that it would only empower these anti-gun governors, mayors, city council members, and exactly that has happened, and that's where we sit with today's news. Sit down, this is going to piss you off. So another story I covered on this channel is Rhode v. Becerra. That was a case, it still is a case, still being litigated in California, and it had to do with the ammunition background check law in California. That system, if you're not aware, if you want to buy ammunition, you want to buy a bag of loose rounds, you have to go through a background check. And that background check system can delay people for weeks. And the numbers are staggering with the amount of people that are failing these background checks incorrectly. They're false positives. It's well documented. You don't have to take my word. You can look it up on your own. But for somebody who wants to go and plink a box of 20 9mm rounds, you have to go through a background check and get delayed like 10 days, 2 weeks, just to go shooting. It's backdoor gun control. It's all it is, okay? So that case, we won that case. We had like a freedom 24 hours, right? That you could buy ammo and have it shipped to your house online from out-of-state dealers, and things looked good. However, the state, the AG went and fought it and put a stay on it. Now that case is still being litigated fiercely, so stay tuned. Something will come out. Courts take a while, but it will come out sooner than later. Now I'll have a link down below to the case, but I'm looking right now at their calendar of the events that have happened since the filing through right now. So in the last couple days, so this is as of June 19th, okay, just a few days ago, they have received amicus briefs, which are like friends of the court letters that someone can send to the court to try to persuade them one way or another, okay? They have received, they being the U.S. Court of Appeals, it's in the Ninth Circuit, they have received an amicus brief from the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence in support of the defendant appellate, that'd be the state, saying we should definitely check backgrounds for ammunition. Because to fire the gun that they already have a background check on, we need to make sure that they have a separate background check on that, because that will yield different results. these liberals are nuts. They also received an amicus brief from the Brady Group in support of the state's ruling. They also have received one that we're going to talk about today from 16 attorneys general. And you're going to want to listen because your state is probably on this list. And I will have some information on that in a second. But it should anger everybody and prepare you, if you're one of these states, that this is coming to you. Okay? And they've also received an amicus brief from Everytown for Gun Safety. And of course, that's Michael Bloomberg. Follow the money. Let's get into this letter, the amicus brief from 16 attorneys general that are saying some things that should wake you up if you live in these states. All right, so I've read this amicus brief by these attorneys general, all 16 of them, and I'm going to name them here, and I'm going to put them on the screen as well, because let's make them famous. But what they're saying is not only should the state of California be allowed to restrict ammunition sales per the Second Amendment, per the Second Amendment, as the Supreme Court has stated, then not only should California be able to do it, but so should our states, and we probably will as well. What do they mean? Well, in the rulings of Heller and McDonald, the Supreme Court, they affirmed everybody has a right to keep and bear arms, an individual right, but they relegated that right to the home. And it left the small little loophole that these liberals love to exploit, where the states could still regulate possession, transportation, concealed carry, stuff like that. Okay? By the Supreme Court not saying that that right extends outside the house in black and white, they have opened the door for this stuff to happen for the last 10, 12 years now. And I knew it was going to be an issue. I freaking knew it. A lot of us have been talking about it for a while, and here it is playing out yet again. And this all could have been avoided if the Supreme Court wasn't guided by Chief Justice John Roberts, who was playing games to support whatever agenda he wants. The attorneys general in these states, and I'm going to tell you, so listen for your state right now: Illinois, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, which isn't a state, but they want to be, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, and Washington State. Those AGs have penned the letter that will be linked down below, the amicus brief, saying, yes, the Supreme Court says we can do this. You should rule in support of California's right to do this. And then we're also opening it up for our legislature to do the same. All right, there is no other state right now, yet, give it time, other than California, that requires background checks for ammunition sales. They're the first. New York, if you live in New York, you're like, hey, over here in the corner. New York, it was actually part of the original SAFE Act in 2013. And then New York couldn't figure out how to do these background checks, right? Because the FBI was like, we ain't doing these for you. So in 2015, they gave up on that, and Cuomo, gave up on the background check for ammunition. It's not given up totally. He just suspended that requirement. It'll come back. Now, one thing that these attorneys general in this amicus brief left out was, hey, New York tried to do it and they couldn't figure it out. So it's going to be hard for these people in other states to do this. And, take that into consideration. Now, they just said, California can do this, and this is how it should be done because this will keep people safe. Nope. Because criminals on the street don't go do background checks for guns or ammunition. So this will only affect the constitutional abiding American who goes and buys their ammo at a store to go shooting at the range. That's it. Now, the basis, if you read their amicus brief, they do allude to that, California might be the only state that does it on a state level, but other states have municipalities, counties, that do it on a local level. In fact, several states, Massachusetts included, require a license to carry firearms in order to purchase ammunition. So they're saying, look, we regulate it that way. It's kind of the same thing. Don't you think so, judges? So that's just a quick brief summary of this amicus brief filed by these 16 bobos from liberal land. And I will, like I said, I'll have a link down below. It's 32 pages long. A lot of sites where you have to go look at other cases that they're referring to. That's why I just did that brief summary, okay? Because that's the basic rundown. This is what they're standing on. And the part that's fueling this is the Second Amendment doesn't have anybody, as long as John Roberts is Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, they don't have anybody that's going to jump in and smack it down saying shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. And if a person has a right inside of a box called their home, then they obviously have that same civil right. It is a civil right because it is recognized in the Bill of Rights that the second you walk out of your folding wall that we call a door, that you still have that right there. It doesn't stop there. Just the same as that when I live on the corner of 3 states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Literally, I can see the border of the other states from where I live. And if I stand on that corner, I no longer have my right. I can no longer defend myself because I am, part of my toe is in the liberal world of Connecticut and the other part of my toe is in the ocean state of Gina Raimondo. And my right or my license to carry isn't accepted there. I shouldn't even need a license to carry. But that's the world we live in now. It's a patchwork of laws where somebody has to be a scholar if they're going to go on a cross-country trip. And in some states, it's even a cross-state trip to where you're not going to violate a law, become a felon, and get thrown in jail forever because these justices refuse to do what's right. Right, enough. I could go on this tangent forever, and I don't have my smoking robe, and I don't have my pipe. All right, so here are the people who you should probably reach out and touch if you live in these states. And it is penned by Kwame Raoul. And if I butcher these names, so what? They're not our friends. They're our enemies anyway. Kwame Raoul of Illinois. His group penned this. So you'll see his name as well as the Solicitor General Jane Knotts and Sarah Hunger Games, who's the Deputy Solicitor General of Illinois. And it's also attested to and backed by William Tong, AG of Connecticut, Kathleen Jennings, AG of Delaware, Carl Racine, AG of DC. We've heard his name a lot on this channel. Claire Connors, the AG of Hawaii, Brian Frost, AG of Maryland, Mara Healy, the Der Fuhrer here in Massachusetts, Dana Nessel, AG of Michigan, Gerber Gruel, he's famous, AG over there in New Jersey, Hector Balderas, AG New Mexico, Letitia James, she's famous, AG of New York. She's the one who's single-handedly destroying the NRA in some of their lawsuits. Ellen Rosenblum, AG of Oregon, Josh Shapiro, AG of Pennsylvania, Peter Nirharana, AG of Rhode Island, Mark Herring, AG Virginia, that's Northam's buddy, Robert Ferguson, AG of the state of Washington. All right, guys and gals, so there you have it. These are the 16 AGs that are not only saying that California has this right because the Supreme Court has said we could do so, but they're also endorsing the ammunition background checks, and they are opening it up to their legislature to bring it to you as well. Now, I can't stress this enough. This November is absolutely huge. It is so big for our gun rights that even if you're a person who doesn't typically like to get out and vote because you don't like politics or you don't think the system works the way it should, the way it was designed, you have to get out and vote this year. You remember me saying a couple times that every single seat in the U.S. House of Representatives is up for vote. 35% of the U.S. Senate is up. 13 governor seats are up. Numerous local elections can be huge as well. We have to stop ignoring what's going on and staying home and being that silent majority. Because we're the silent majority, they are experiencing victories, they being the anti-gunners. And we have to get out and force the system to correct itself. It can be done. It can very easily be done. But we all have to be a team. And we, the Second Amendment community, are so freaking fractured, we don't even know how to spell team. So let's pull it together.
Let's do it for Johnny. We'll do it for Johnny.
Let's do this for Johnny. And let's win. All right, like I said, the link to that AG's Amicus brief is down below if you want to read it. And yeah, if you want to contact your AG, if I named one of your Bobos, it's easy. Just go to your state website and type in Attorney General's office, and all their contact info comes up. So let's let them hear our wrath and tell them that we're going to try to get them voted out as well. Also, you got to educate your friends, your family, your neighbors, because not everybody's keyed into this. Unless you eat, live, and breathe and die on this stuff, people just don't care. And it's on us to educate them. So do that as well. You can start by subscribing to Guns and Gadgets, forwarding this to some friends, liking the video so YouTube is forced to show it, and also toggle that little bell icon to all notifications. My goal in this channel is to get everybody educated on what's really happening out there in the Second Amendment, no matter where it happens. If you find any interest or value to that, please subscribe, because I'd love to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure, and until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.